Hello students. So today we are going to learn in the kingdom of fools. Okay. This story is a Kannada folktale from A.K. Ramanujan's Folktales from India. Now, Kannada is a regional language which is mainly spoken in the state of Karnataka. This story is a Kannada folktale. Folktale is a story which is passed on from one generation to another generation. This story has been taken from the book Folk Tales from India, which is written by A.K. Ramanujan. First of all, let us discuss the title of the story in the kingdom of fools, which means the state where people are not so wise, they are not so intelligent. In this story, the king, his ministers, and his advisors are completely fools. That means that they are not wise and intelligent. When this kind of people rule the kingdom, then what all happens has been told in this story. Let us read and explain the story. In the kingdom of fools, both the king and his minister were idiots. They didn't want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, till their fields, and run their businesses only after dark, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. The people did as they were told for fear of death. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. One day, a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep, not a mouse stirring. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep day by day. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. So in the kingdom of fools, the king and his ministers both were unintelligent. Then they didn't want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, fill their fans, and run their businesses only after dark, and go to bed as soon as sun came up. So they passed an order that everyone in the kingdom would work at night only. Nobody would sleep at night. The farmers would do farming at night, and the ones who ran businesses would do business at night time. As soon as the sun rose, everyone would go to sleep. If someone would disobey the order, disobey the instructions of the king, he would be punished with death. The people did as they were told of fear of death. The king and the minister were delighted to see the success of their project. So the people were scared that if they did not obey the king's order, they would be sentenced with death penalty. So they obeyed the order, although it was very strange. The king and his minister, both of them are fools, and they were very happy that all the people in the kingdom were following their order. Two men were hungry. Now the shops were open. They went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same, a single dutu. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dutu. The guru and his disciple were delighted. They had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. When they had cooked and eaten, the guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools, and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay there. This is no place for us, let's go, he said to his disciple. But the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. and all he wanted was good, cheap food. The Guru said, they are all fools. This won't last very long, and you can't tell what they will do to you next. So one day, a Guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but where there was no one about, and everyone was asleep that time, not a mouse was tiring that time. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. So the two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening. And when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. The two men were very hungry at that time. Now that the shops were open in the night time, they were to buy some groceries, and to their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same, a single to two. So whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dudu. The Guru and his disciple were very delighted, and they had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. So when they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools, and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay there. So now the Guru is saying that this is no place for us. Let's go, he said to his disciple. So the Guru told his disciple that the place was not right for them and asked him to leave at once. But the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, do you want? I'm going, and left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas and ghee and rice and wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. As he was as he was carrying on his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good, strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this justice. The king said, justice will be done, don't worry, and at once summoned the owner of the house. But the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap out there, so all he wanted was good and cheap food. The Guru said that everyone out there was fool and was very dangerous also. The kingdom would not last for a long time and they could harm them too. The disciple is not foresighted like his guru and could not understand what his guru was trying to say. He wanted to live there only and enjoy the cheap food. Finally, the Guru left alone and leaving the disciple behind. The disciple stayed back in the kingdom of fools. Every day he ate a lot of food, due to which he became as fat as a huge bull. One day, a thief entered a merchant's house. He made a hole in the wall to gain access. When he was about to move out of the house after looting all the things, the wall he broke the wall and fell. Suddenly, the wall broke down and fell down on his head, and he died there only. Now, the thief's younger brother, who went to the king and complained that his brother was following his ancient trade, although the ancient trade was robbing, it was a crime. So, while he was working, the wall fell on his head and he died. So, the thief's younger brother was taking advantage of the king who was completely a fool. He said that the merchant whose wall has fallen down on his brother was the culprit. So he should have made a strong wall. He requested the king to punish the merchant and get compensation from his family. The king was so foolish and that he did not consider the fact that the dead man was committing theft, and at that time of his death the king only thought that the man died because the wall fell on him, and the owner of the house whose wall fell on that thief, the thief had to be punished. So he called the merchant. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, "What's your name?" "Such and such, your highness." "Were you at home when the dead man burst your house?" "Yes, my lord." "He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him. The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you." "Lord," said the helpless merchant, "I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him." "Who is that?" "My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby." The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him, tied hand and foot. "You there? Did you build this man's wall in his father's time?" "Yes, my lord, I did." "What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death." So as soon as the merchant appeared, the king asked his name. Then the king asked him whether he was at home when the dead man, the thief, was barging his house. The merchant replied that he was at his home only. The thief made a hole in the wall and entered his house. And when he was trying to go out, so suddenly wall fell down on him because the wall was very weak. Then the king told that the merchant that he was guilty. He did wrong thing. Due to his weak wall, the thief died, and now the merchant will be punished. The merchant pleaded, the merchant requested in front of the king, and he requested that, "My lord, it was not my fault. The wall was weak because the person who made the wall did not construct it properly. So hence, you should punish him." And further, he added that the wall was made during his father's time. That means the merchant's father's time. The person who built it was very old. He knew him as he lived nearby. So the king sends his soldier to call the bricklayer who built the wall. They tied his hands and feet and brought him in the king's place. Then the king asked him that he build that wall, and replied that yes, he did. The king said that the man had built a weak wall. The wall fell on the poor thief's head and killed him. The bricklayer would be punished for this for this for the deed of that thief. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, "Please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true I built this wall and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives." "You are right. The case depends. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer, wherever she is." The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. "Did you walk up and down the street many years ago while the poor man was building a wall? Did you see him?" "Yes, my lord. I remember it very well." "So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. So you were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall." So now everyone is passing on the blame to another person. When the king was about to pass an order to execute the bricklayer, he requested the king to listen to him also. He agreed that he did not make the wall properly because of a girl, a dancing girl, who was roaming around the street, and her anklets were making a jingling sound. Due to her anklets jingle sound, it was he was not able to concentrate on his work, and so He built a weak wall. It was not his mistake. It was the fault of that dancing girl. He added that he knew where this dancing girl is living nowadays. She should be punished instead of him. So the king was satisfied with the bricklayer's explanation and statement. He was convinced with him. The king tells that the case is very complicated and will not be able to solve it so easily. So he ordered his messenger to get that dancing girl. Now the dancing girl had become an old woman, and she was trembling as she entered the court. The king asked her that many years ago, when she was dancing and roaming around in the lane, roaming around in the road, while the bricklayer was constructing the wall, her movement distracted him. Her dancing skill distracted that bricklayer. She confronted him. He told her that she was coming around with handclets jingling. It distracted the bricklayer. So due to this, he could not do his work properly. He built a bad wall which fell on the thief, and he was killed. So it was because of her, of that dancing girl, that the thief died, and she would be punished with death. It has fallen on the poor bachelor and killed him. You have killed an innocent man, you will have to be punished. She thought for a minute and said, My lord, wait, I know now why I was walking up and down the street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damned goldsmith's fault. Poor thing, she is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding at once. The king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. So now the dancing girl is transferring the blame onto another person. She is saying that she was roaming around in that lane again and again because she had to visit the goldsmith's shop. She had given some gold to him to make jewelry out of it. He was a dishonest person. He was making excuses for not making her ornaments in time. He kept on asking her to come after some time. So due to this, the dancing girl had to go to his house at least a dozen times. So the dancing girl said that it was the fault of that goldsmith. Further, the dancing girl said that when the bricklayer saw her and got distracted, it was the fault of that goldsmith because of whom she was roaming in the lane again and again. Now the king is saying that the poor dancing girl was totally right. He thought a lot, and finally he said that now they knew who the real culprit was. The king now ordered to bring that goldsmith. So now the bailiffs means officer who makes sure that the decisions of the king or court or the minister are obeyed. So the bailiffs in the king's court went in search of the goldsmith and brought him to the court. The goldsmith was hiding inside his shop as he feared being arrested. So when he was brought in front of the king, he told his side of the story.